Yo, what's good? Welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to show you all the sauce I use when I'm making dark choir orchestral samples for EST Gee and Future. Let's dive right in. Okay, so we're in the scale of D sharp minor, and I started off with this MIDI. As you can see, I played it in because it's not perfectly on time all the time, but that doesn't matter. And basically what it is a root note and the fifth together. It's already a very ambient sound, as you can hear. Kind of went up from the root note to the fifth and played the root note and the 2 and the 3. And what you want to do is always use like those halftone steps in your melodies, because it's gonna sound very dark and evil, and that's what we're kind of going for here. So that's what this pattern sounds like. As for effects, we add an EQ, which cuts out all the highs and lows. I added a big reverb, and I added a shaper box panning. I use this New Horizons preset from Analog Lab. Okay, second of all, what I always like to do is just copy and layer the main melody with another instrument. And this time it's just the same melody copied over, which sounds like this. As for effects, I add an EQ, which cuts out the lows and the highs. Then I added a Portal preset, the slow time preset from my Vision Portal Bank, which is from my multi-kit, which is free. You can check that out if you want. And pretty much the slow time preset, it's like a halftime, but it adds more texture to it as well. And then I add another EQ to cut out some of those that were generated by the slow time preset. And the preset is Dreamy Keys, also from Analog Lab. Now we get into the sauce. Here's the choir melody that I added. It's pretty simple, and honestly, if you have a MIDI keyboard where you can play stuff in, I would always recommend that you play your lead melodies in around those halftone steps, especially the 2 and the 3. And this is a pattern I came up with, so that's kind of the MIDI sauce. Whenever you want to play those in, or whenever you want to create like those choirs, either play them in or use phrases. And I'm going to show you my favorite plugins for choir stuff. So probably my favorite plugins to use are Vocalize 3 and Vocalize 2 from Heaviosity. They have a lot of vowels, moving vowels, single vowels, they have pads, they have rhythmic pedals, they have intervals, and they also have melodic phrases, which I'm just going to load up. This D sharp minor melodic phrases, and you can just press keys and create fire as phrases from that. Yeah, and just as you can hear, they have a ton of fire presets. Yo, you're gonna shut the fuck up, bro, this cock, excuse me. They're going crazy out here. So we have the Vocalize 3 and the Vocalize 2. And what I also use a ton is Mosaic Voices, but they don't have any phrases. It's just like a plugin for choiry sounds, but it's dope to like layer some of those above your pianos, or you just use them kind of as a pad. Yeah, I think you get the point. It's pretty self-explanatory. And that's pretty much all the plugins I use for choirs, to be honest. Sometimes I use Omnisphere because they have some fire as well, but not too often. Next up, most important thing, low piano. We can't forget that. Sample's still missing a lot of that punch, of that dark feeling, and that's why we add a low piano. Sometimes I like to do 1 octave or 2 octaves. This time I chose 2. But what I like to do is like make the second layer not as long, and I'm showing you how that sounds. Just gives that unique sounding effect, because in the last bar only the low octave plays, so it's like the when it hits it's both, and it just makes it more unique and less boring, because sometimes those low pianos, if you just drag them out, just sounds boring after some time. So that's a simple trick I like to do with that. As for presets, we use the Noir piano with the basic pure preset. I either use the basic pure or the dark preset. Effects are also pretty simple. Want to cut out the low-lows to leave space for the bass and the 808s. Okay, so next up I add in a phrase. This is from my Vision multi-kit as well. And this is what the phrase sounds like. As I said like 100 times, phrases are a cheat code. You can drag them into any one of your samples that you kind of feel like is not done yet, but you don't know what to add. Just go through some phrases, test some phrases, and yeah, just drag and drop them in and you have a great complementary part to your melody. Now, last thing I added to round it off was a bass. Pretty simple, clean sub bass from Heat Up Free Urbanese preset. Now, one thing I like to do after arranging it and stemming it out is just going into a mixer track and exporting it. So now I can go in and change the pitch. In that case, we pitch it down 1 semitone. And also one last thing, if you want to do those melodies, choose a BPM between 150, 160. You can go even a little bit higher, 165, maybe 170 max. But this is just the perfect BPMs, and always make those melodies around C sharp minor, D minor, D sharp minor, around those 3 keys, because the low piano sounds the darkest in those keys, and it's generally the most used keys for those really, really dark ones. If you want to listen to my loops 5 years ago versus now, you can check that video out. I'm going to break down a loop I made 5 years ago and how I flipped it into a new one now, and what you can learn from that.